Welcome back, demigods, monsters, and gods alike. This is the Olympus Report. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, the 2010 movie, directed by Christopher Columbus. Was it as bad as we remember? Well, I think that's a more complicated question than we think. Was it a bad adaptation? Yes, it was a horrible adaptation. It didn't follow the books at all. But was it a bad movie? I don't think so. See, here's the thing. In 2010, the first time I watched the movie, I had never read the book, and honestly, I liked the movie. Flash forward 10 years, the second time I watched the movie, I had just read the book, and I hated the movie. So the third time I watched the movie for this review, I had to turn my brain off and forget the book even existed. So for this review, we're going to hop into an alternate reality and pretend the book doesn't exist. We're going to look at the movie as just a standalone film with no plans for a sequel. I went to college for film, and one of the first classes you have to take is story structure. And the first thing they teach you is every good story follows the same roadmap. First off, we have the beginning/exposition where our main protagonist is introduced, along with some basic info as well as some world building. Next comes the inciting incident, the moment that disrupts the status quo of our main protagonist and kicks off the story. Usually we have an all is lost moment. It doesn't always have to come right after the inciting incident, but usually it does. This is the moment that our protagonist is at their lowest and they either need to step down or step up. Now we've reached the midpoint of our story, where even more information is revealed. Then we hit our rising action, where things start to get tense and we build towards our climax. Then we have our climax, which is the climax of the story. And finally, the resolution. Was the conflict solved? As I'm about to explain, the 2010 Percy Jackson movie follows this roadmap perfectly. First off, we have exposition. See, every good story has conflict. Without conflict, the hero has nothing to do. And the conflict of this story was set up right away. We're introduced to Zeus and Poseidon, and we find out that Zeus's Master Bolt has been stolen, and he blames Poseidon. And if the Master Bolt isn't returned by the summer solstice, there's going to be an all-out war of the gods. Now, right off the bat, this is a great way to start the film. It builds the world and tells us what we're dealing with, the Greek gods. Unlike in books, in movies, things need to be shown, not told. In the book, we could see Percy's thoughts, but in the movie, we don't. Having Percy start off in a school setting is the perfect way to solve this. Right away, we're told things like, he doesn't really fit in, he has ADHD, he has dyslexia, and he has one really good friend, Grover. Having Percy live at home rather than at school right away shows us his love for his mother, his hate for Gabe, and that he cares about the ones he loves. Through the interaction of the characters, we learn right away that Percy is defensive and loyal. By just seeing things on the screen, we've already learned so much about his character. Then, our inciting incident happens. On the school field trip, Mrs. Dodge transforms into a fury and attacks Percy, forever disrupting his status quo and bringing him into the conflict of the movie. This is going to kick off the rest of our story. Now Percy experiences his all is lost moment, the moment our hero is tested. Percy has seemingly lost his mother, and everything he's ever been told is a lie. He's really at his lowest point here. Is he going to let the world defeat him, or is he going to join this world and step up? Now we've reached the midpoint of our story, and we learn more information about the gods, demigods, and life at Camp Half-Blood. All key players are introduced, such as Annabeth, Luke, and Chiron. We learn of Percy's father, Poseidon, and rather than telling us, we're shown what Percy's powers are. Then, Hades challenges our hero. Bring me the Master Bolt, or I kill your mother. This is going to propel us into our next act of the film. For our next act of the film, our heroes are given a clear goal: find 3 pearls so they can infiltrate the underworld and rescue Percy's mother. After learning this, our 3 main characters, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover, set out to solve the conflict. Now we enter our rising action, where stakes will be raised until we hit the climax of our movie. There's a rule in life that everything is better in 3s, and this is very true for our next act. There's 3 pearls to find and 3 obstacles to overcome. The first obstacle, Medusa. The second obstacle, the Hydra. And the third obstacle, the Lotus Hotel and Casino. Now our heroes can face Hades, where the real antagonist of the story is revealed: Luke. Having resentment towards his father and the gods for never being around, Luke stole the Master Bolt in hopes of starting a war between the gods. Now our story is propelled into our climax. Our heroes must get the lightning bolt back to Zeus before time runs out, but Luke stands in their way. Percy must fight off Luke if he's going to return the lightning bolt. Resolution: Percy is able to return the Master Bolt, stop the war between the gods, rescue his mother and Grover from the underworld, and return to Camp Half-Blood a hero. All the conflict introduced in the story has been resolved, and Percy is able to complete his journey. Now for the cast. Overall, this movie was casted really well. The actors did a great job of making the characters their own and giving a realistic performance. As the movie versions of these characters, the actors did a great job. Percy is slightly snarky, endearing, and loyal, which comes across perfectly in Logan's performance. Brandon T. Jackson plays Grover as funny and is a constant laugh throughout the film, a highlight through a film that often can have dark parts. Alexandra Daddario brings a wise and powerful Annabeth to the screen, but also hints at a slightly more vulnerable side. Jake Abel plays Luke as the cool, older brother that everyone wants to have, but also hits the more sinister parts perfectly. The 3 main actors have great chemistry together and really brought the trio together. I really felt like they cared about each other. Percy and Annabeth have great romantic chemistry that is hinted at but never explicitly stated. And for the movie version of this world, that makes perfect sense. Visually, the movie looks great. Camera work and sets are all really well done, and the camera movement can be energetic and chaotic, building the sense of danger within the scene, but never too energetic that it gets distracting. And some of the sets are simply breathtaking, especially Camp Half-Blood, giving off a sense of wonder and fun, making the audience wish they could go there, which is the goal. I mean, look at this shot. I don't know if they shot on location or used a green screen, but my guess would be they shot on location, as the light right here on our actors is 100% real looking, and that was way more difficult to fake in 2010. On the other hand, Hell, which is a totally fake environment, also looks really good. CGI for the most part was decent looking. Some of the monsters looked a little wonky, but the water effects with Percy were outstanding. And the final battle with Luke was awesome and kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Stunts and action were all solid. I was personally never taken out of the movie, and the fight with the Hydra was especially cool, as we finally got to see Percy kick some ass. Overall, this is a fun and exciting movie that kept me on my toes the entire time. And if you can turn off your brain and stop comparing it to the book, I think you might enjoy it too. As a standalone movie, it just works, and I personally think it gets too much hate. And now that we're finally getting the Percy Jackson adaptation that we've always wanted, maybe we can cut it a little slack. For a 2-hour film, it told a full and completed story, as long as it was a standalone film. Now, the Sea of Monsters, that's a whole other story. But that's for next time, demigods. So until then, stay safe.